Hello, guys. Joker the Fool back at it again with the 115th episode of the Braxcast. And there's a good bit of stuff to talk about. We do have some active fulfillment. I believe that is Dirty Deeds #1 and the Detention Crew, if I'm getting that correctly, are fulfilling this week, Monday, Thursday, May 20th. But other than that being an active fulfillment, we do have free books that launched, and that's the big takeaway for this week. So only one new book, and not to bury the lead, I'll get right into this. So this is a crossover with Exclave. So of course the Exclave event is basically the Devlin King coming out from the underground and wreaking havoc as teased in Item #2. Basically the ending of Item #2 is Devlin King, basically establishing that he's going to go after Isom. And then, of course, in Blood Roof #1, at the end of Blood Roof #1, we have Dokuman talking about how events are being put into place, and that's all going to take place at the Central Forest Park, and we know that is the Exclave crossover. And this Exclave crossover is going to feature Isom, Gooding, and Blood Roof, and those are the three main characters. So characters that aren't going to be in that crossover event are getting their own books. That's what Eric July said. Rex Moss did correct that for me. So very much shout out to him, being a very good fan. And Saoirse is going to be one of those characters. Of course, we got Yaira's Exclave story. So now we're getting Saoirse's. It's going to release on the 1st of December of this year, 2026, and with the pre-order cutoff being the 28th of August. And this is written by Carol Brown with art by Jack Jadson. This is 56 pages, and it's going to be pretty interesting because Saoirse is typically written by Eric July. Of course, the short story that appeared in Ripazine #2 was written by Eric July, along with the first issue, and it does seem like we'll get more, but I know of only that first issue so far that we have. And of course, we're getting this Exclave story, which is featuring a Ruby Rose, a former broker, basically being in trouble, and is going to surround the Exclave event. But we'll go over the covers right now. So cover A is by Giuseppe Piccolo, with Javier Mena as the artist, or the colorist, I ought to say. Cover B is by Pam Gutty, and I said on live stream that cover B was my favorite cover. Absolutely love the red cocktail dress, or evening dress, whatever you want to call it, with like the gun holster and all of that. It just is a great show off of everything I love in Saoirse's character. And of course, I just love that dress being the callback to her very first appearance in the short story. And I guess Saoirse #1 as well, which we have not gotten yet. Cover C is by Thiago Silva. This is the foiled and embossed cover. And then cover D, the mass print cover, is by Brow. And Brow has made a lot of covers for the Ropiverse. I do hope Brow gets some interior art, because I think she would be a very good artist. But that is Saoirse Exclave #1. 56 pages, very typical for these pre-order books. That's a settled format. I think only Great War of Separation #4 is the one that is like slightly longer, if I'm getting, if I'm remembering correctly. But there's like 23 books up for pre-order right now, and does not include these two books that were just released today, but these are collections. So continuing with the Definitive series, of course, we got Definitive Isom, Definitive Yaira, which collected the first 3 issues of those series. We're now getting Definitive Alpha Core and Definitive Horseman. So we'll start with Definitive Alpha Core. That's going to collect the first 3 issues of the Alpha Core. Of course, we've got 1 and #2. #3 is on the way. Should be fulfilling in the summer, if I have my dates correct. So this Definitive Alpha Core, its pre-order cutoff date is the 7th or the 10th of July, of this year, with it releasing on the 2nd of October of this year. And the soft cover is by Gabrick Falzone, with Felipe Felix doing the color work. And the hardcover is by Megan Mushi, with Javier Mena doing the cover work, or the color work, I ought to say. And really nothing much to say about These definitive collections, they're not for me since I have multiple copies of Alpha Core 1 and Alpha Core 2, and that will be the same for Alpha Core number 3. So I'm just keeping up with the individual issues, of course, and that's the same for Definitive Horseman as well, basically all these definitive series, but these will be really cool for people getting into it, especially to distribute to like libraries and bookstores, and that will be done through Hachette because I think it's July 6th is when the Hachette deal with the Rippaverse kicks into place. So we'll start seeing those books getting to bookstores and libraries, and these are releasing in October, so it's well after that. And the whole point of doing the adjustment for a lot of the books that were coming out this year was so that way it could release directly to consumers and through the Hachette, I guess, network at the same time, or I guess to retail and libraries and such. But I don't want to get too much into that. I want to get into Definitive Horseman. So Definitive Horseman is coming out a little bit later, so its pre-order cutoff is the 7th of August 2026, with the 30th of October being the release date. The soft cover is by Gleedson Ribeiro, with Prasad Rao as the colorist, and the hardcover is by NRG. And this Definitive Horseman, it's collecting the first 3 issues of Horseman along with Welcome to Forest Park, which is the 96-page one-shot graphic novel that establishes the character. So that's basically everything you would want the Definitive Horseman to collect. And of course, that's by Joe Bennett and Chuck Dixon, both Alpha Core and Horseman. So there's a lot of consistency in that style of artwork, because Joe is just such a great pencil artist, I ought to say. And he's had Fiago Gnomes do the ink work for, I believe, most of his work after the original Horseman Walk the Forest Park and Alpha Core number 1, if I have that correctly. But anyways, that's really all I have for you guys. It's not too much, but definitely really exciting stuff. Love to see these collections like this. And like I said, I think these are the great formats to have to really jump into the ongoing series for retail audiences because it's an easier sell in some cases. But of course, having those single issues as well makes a lot of sense because it's cheaper. But anyways, that's a whole debate on whether you prefer the omnibuses or the individual issues, and that's up to preference, but it's good to have options. So I'll leave it there. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Joker is out. Thank you for tuning in to the Braxcast. Be sure to like, comment, follow, and subscribe to keep up with the Rippaverse.